Live from Cabot, Cabot, Arkansas. It's Saturday night. And this is Coach Steve Money bringing you Ramsey Coach number 21, I think. All right, just waited for still have the fan going, but I waited for the air conditioner to turn off. Don't you hate it when you turn off the air conditioner and then it's like, well, we're going to run for like another 2 minutes before we actually cut off. Let me check the TV, check the stream, make sure we got, we do have audio, so we're all good, and I have the screen over here, so if I'm looking over there, that means I'm just checking the chat to see if anybody's put anything in the chat. Don't expect anybody because I do not announce these ahead of time. I should probably pick a time and do it every week at that time. So I can get some people in the chat, but so far I do it whenever I feel like it. And so anyway, again, I'm Coach Steve Money, and I am a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation assessment with me if you got money problems or you just want to make sure you're on the right track. You can do that at calendly.com/Coach Steve Money. If you don't want to type that in, you can also go to my YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. And on the right side of that green YouTube banner, you can click that link there. Will take you to calendly.com/Coach Steve Money, and you can schedule that consultation and we will get that done. You can email me about coaching or anything else on my YouTube channel at CoachSteveMoney@gmail.com. Donations can go to paypal.me/Coach Steve Money. You can add me on the gram at Coach Steve Money. And of course, again, like I said, this YouTube channel is youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. Let's get rid of how do I do that? There we go. Got rid of the graphic there. So again, that's my home page there. Christopher Pittman designed my banner and logo. Shout out to him. His email address is in the show description if you would like to get in touch with him for some branding for yourself. All right, let's see here. Doing all the production myself. So if you're new to this, if you're new to Dave Ramsey, Dave Ramsey went bankrupt 30-ish, 35 years ago, somewhere between 30 and 35 years ago, I think. And he decided that wasn't fun, and so he started living his financial life a different way and developed these steps. And that way you don't have to go through any of that stuff. You can just follow these steps and you will be very successful. These steps have, in his program overall, have produced millions of documented success stories. And anyone can do them. Even the smarter people, even the disciplined people that think they can handle credit cards, you can still do his steps without having credit cards and still be very successful, even if you can handle credit cards and you would never get in trouble with them. And of course, a lot of people think that they would never get in trouble with them until, guess what happens? They get in trouble with them. All right, so before we go into the Reddit questions, and that's what we do here on this particular show, let's take a look at the market from Friday. And as you can see, the Russell Small Cap Index 3.56 up, leading the way. And the small cap is taking the most of the beating in the downturn. And it has most of the way to come back. Let's look at the year. Not too bad on the 1 year, but as you can see, it's still quite a ways down from the high that was on November 5th, 2021. So what is that? 2437, and so now it's at 1830. But did come up. Let's see, in the 5 years total, though, if you've been investing that long, your small cap is still up 9.47, and that's what we are looking for. That's what I didn't do ahead of time. Ramsey Solutions.com for tools. Where did it go? And retirement. There it is. They changed where the stuff was. Investment calculator. If we go right here, you can see people want to know where does Dave get his number? It doesn't make that much. And it says this is the return. When you put this in, you get to decide what you put into this calculator. But it says this is the return your investment will generate over time. Historically, the 30-year return of the S&P 500 has been roughly 10 to 12%. And so there was recently an article on Fool.com, that's Motley Fool, is a financial site, and it too said that over the long term, it is 10%. So a lot of people like to include, but that doesn't include inflation. Well, I don't bother with doing that, because unless you're going to bother with factoring in inflation in everything, like you go to the grocery store, you're going to think, okay, well, I normally spend this much, but if I better factor in inflation and not spend that much this time. People don't do that, so they just do that. That's just a reason to say Dave is wrong, but he's not wrong. So inflation is going to happen whether you invest or not. So I got a great idea. Why not make the most money possible no matter what? So I mean, it's a waste of time talking about inflation, because it happens and you're not going to do anything about it. So just make as much as you can to combat it. All right, so where are we? So baby steps. Baby step 1, save $1,000 for starter emergency fund. Baby step 2, pay off all debt except the house using the debt snowball. Debt snowball is smallest to largest. The opposite of that would be the debt avalanche, and some people do that, which is pay off the highest interest first, and that is better mathematically, but a lot of times that would be the highest amount first, and that means it could be years before you even get one thing paid off, and it is better to pay off the smaller debts first, because that way you get wins along the way, and then also you have that debt completely gone and can put that minimum payment plus all extra to the next debt on the list. Okay, you get all that done, you pay off all your non-mortgage debt, and then you get to baby step 3 to save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. And so that is basically that's your cash reserve. That's you having money to put to emergencies that you have instead of putting them on a credit card. And so we don't use credit anymore. Baby step 0, part of missing baby steps video, still coming soon. Baby step 0 is a bunch of stuff. Baby step 3B is saving for down payment. Part of baby step 0 is you decide that debt isn't going to be a part of your life anymore, and you don't add to debt. You just start the steps and then you pay it off. So let's see. So after you get the fully funded emergency fund, baby step 4, invest 15% of your gross household income into retirement. Baby step 5 is save for your children's college fund. If you don't have children, or if you decide not to help them with college, which some people do, that's fine. It's your money. You can do what you want. Then you can just skip baby step 5 in either of those cases. Baby step 6, pay your home off early. And still all the while only investing 15% of your gross household income into retirement. No more than that. Any extra goes to step 5 and step 6. And now the reason you do that, instead of investing more and letting your mortgage, you keep your mortgage around like it's a pet, instead of doing that, it's because it's the same thing. If you had a paid off house, would you get out and take a mortgage on it so you can invest the money? Would you do that? A couple people have told Dave yes, but most of the time, people say no. Of course, I wouldn't do that on a paid off home. Well, by not paying it off early, you're doing exactly the same thing. So, and that is debt leverage. And of course, then you pay your home off early, and then you're in baby step 7, and that's to build wealth and give. And then you can invest any amount you want to. You can do anything with money you want, except go back in debt. Except go back in debt. You cannot do that. Some people do get to baby step 7 because they're renters, and then they decide, oh, I want a house. Well, yes, then you go back to baby step 3B. But then you're already doing step 4 unless you're stopping investing for a while to save up a larger down payment, which that's allowed. They will let you stay out of the market for 3 years for investing in retirement while you save up a bigger down payment. You can do that, or you can do both at the same time. That balance is up to you, what you do in between there. And so, but then hopefully you already have 5 handled. And of course, then you would be doing baby step 6 after you get that mortgage. Alrighty. Whew, that's a lot of talking. Little agua. Alrighty, hopefully the fan isn't making too much noise. It didn't sound like it was. Alrighty, so we go to reddit.com/r/Dave Ramsey. And we sort by new, and we got 3 hours ago, we have Pit Kempo. Baby step 6 flare here, and what would Dave do flare? WWDD. Sinking funds, alrighty. Just wanted to get everyone's thoughts on having too many sinking funds to the point where it becomes excessive. Hope this doesn't come off pretentious or anything, but I'm generally curious what everyone's viewpoints are currently in baby steps 4 through 6. Okay, so this isn't quite as bad as like being in baby step 7 and have a problem. A lot of people in the chat, a lot of people here on this subreddit think if you're further along in the baby steps than they are, that you don't have any reason to be asking questions because you're doing great. But unfortunately, people in baby steps 4 through 6 and people in baby step 7, they still do have questions and they still do have money problems, even though those problems you may not think are as bad as yours, being like if you're in baby step 2. One thing I did forget to say about the baby steps is baby steps 1, 2, and 3 are done one at a time in order. Baby steps 4, 5, and 6 are done all at the same time in order. Alrighty, so back to the question. Questions about striking balance between paying the home off early, saving for the inevitable replacement of things such as a roof, air conditioning, expensive car repairs, and enjoying money for vacations, home upgrades, or whatever else. If I know a new roof is going to be about $15K, so I started sinking funds for, let's say, 4 years down the road, $30 to $15 a month, and a new car in the same time frame, so another $315 a month, then wanting to pay the house off early, so let's say throwing another $500 a month there, then wanting to enjoy life and take some vacations. It just seems difficult to strike the balance of 101 sinking funds versus paying off the house versus enjoying the fruits of our labor. How do y'all find that balance? Well, you stop trying to plan for everything, for one thing. And what some people would do, and probably what I would suggest, is you do have your normal emergency fund, and I would probably let that handle most of the emergencies. As far as, you can have, a car sinking fund, and you can start a little house sinking fund, but you don't have to say, okay, well, the house sinking fund is going to replace the entire roof. It's going to replace the HVAC system. It's going to, do home upgrades. Okay, the upgrade thing, that's a different thing than needing a new roof. Home upgrade is a choice. A roof, if you got water coming in, that needs to be repaired. And so, obviously, you don't just let one guy come over and look at the roof and say, yeah, you need a new roof. If it's not leaking water, you can probably go a little while without fixing it. Perhaps you can patch it for a little while. So definitely get more than one professional's assessment of said roof. But you're just trying to stave off everything, and that's especially as you go down the list, it's enjoying money for vacations, home upgrades, or whatever else. The latter part of that list are choices. They're not, oh, the roof is old, it needs to be replaced. Oh, the air conditioning system broke, needs to be replaced. Oh, the car needs to be repaired. Expensive car repairs. Well, if it's too expensive, then maybe you just buy a new car cash. Instead of spending that much on there. And when I say new car, I mean new to you, unless you are a net worth millionaire, and then you don't buy a new car ever. You would be buying used cars. So again, the emergency fund should be able to handle emergencies, or at least the Band-Aid part of the emergency, like a patch. And so forth, but trying to save money to insure yourself against everything, including your choices. That's not the idea behind sinking funds. The idea behind sinking funds is, okay, I'm gonna need tires, in X number of years. Okay, fine, that's gonna be true, depending on how many miles you drive. etc. Sure, but then you want to definitely save up enough for new tires from point A, where you are now, to point B, when you will need the new tires. Definitely, you don't save up all that money way in advance while you still have a house payment. So people are going to do it differently, and it's whatever you sleep at night. Whatever you need to do to sleep at night. And be comfortable at this point. It's not baby step 2 where you're supposed to be uncomfortable, so you try to get out of that situation as quickly as possible. And on baby steps 4 through 6, the budget is up to you. You can schedule a vacation, but at that point, for vacations, you're cash flowing them. So, and if you can't cash flow it, maybe it's too much of a vacation to take at that moment. Maybe you wait until the house is paid off at that point, because then you have all that mortgage money and extra money to apply to whatever you want it to, and then you can take the big vacations. But I think the person here, the poster, Pick Kimpo here, is just trying to do way too much at the same time, and decided to make the problem worse than it was, to make the situation, because you have, again, the two different categories: roof, it may just need a patch; air conditioning, it's all going to go out at the same time; expensive car repairs, and then he goes into enjoying money for vacations, home upgrades. And so those are two different categories. Vacation home upgrades are optional. If you have water coming in, you need to repair the roof. If you don't have air conditioning in the height of summer, you need to get some air conditioning. And so those would be emergencies, and those could come out of the emergency fund, and then you replenish the emergency fund. But as far as having a bunch of extra money beyond the emergency fund to handle not only roof, air conditioning, expensive cars, but also money for vacation and home upgrades, which are optional and not needed, that is a little too much. And as far as a sinking fund for like 10 different things, at some point, I mean, you can have like a tire one, maybe a general car repair, general car maintenance, sinking fund, that kind of thing. But when it's a bunch of different little things, maybe make one catch-all sinking fund for like 3 or 4 different items, and do that. But the idea is not to lose focus on step 6, which you do still want to be doing, pay off your home early. And that's basically just like step 2, where you take all extra and put it to the smallest debt. Baby step 6, you're putting all extra to the paying off the mortgage early. But granted, you do have more leeway because you're also investing. You're also addressing kids' college, and you're also putting fun stuff in the budget. And so you just have to think at that point, do I want to take this vacation, or do I want to put all that money on the house to get it paid off early? And then the house will be paid off early, and then we can have all kinds of fun with that money at that point. So it's all a choice, basically. Hope that made sense. Let's see. Credit score. No, credit score doesn't matter. Correct. I'm debt free. Just curious when my score will plummet now. As soon as you stop interacting with the bank, if you have a home mortgage, your credit score is going to take up because you're still paying every month, so you're still interacting with credit. So until the mortgage is paid off, it's not going to plummet. It may go down a little bit because you're not constantly taking out new debt and paying it off. You're just paying off the one debt, but that is still interacting with debt, and so it will not plummet while you have that mortgage. Could go down some, though. Let's see, this from JD Ford, 85. 3-month CD. So help me conceptualize this. All right, if 3-month CDs are around 5%, what's to stop someone from investing a chunk of money earning 5%? Then, you mean then? THEN, then. Hashtag 3rd grade. Reinvesting is one word, not re, and then investing. Every 3 months for a year with roughly 20% returns for the year. Let's see. Someone from investing a chunk of money, earning 5%, then reinvesting every 3 months for a year with roughly 20% returns for a year. Yeah, that's for one whole year. So you don't get the whole year's investing if you, make sure I'm understanding this right. If you are only doing a 3-month CD, you don't get 5% for that. You get 5 divided by 4 because 3 months is a quarter of the year. So you get a quarter of this 5%. So let's see. I understand rates can go down, yes, but CDs are a relatively safe investment. And worst case scenario, your money is tied up for 3 months. Yeah. Where index or mutual fund average 8 to 12% with much more risk. Am I missing something? Yeah, you're missing that it's not a 3-month CD is not a year. You would have to do that with a year CD. So that's what you're missing on that. Bad math. Hopefully the 36 comments explain that to JD Ford 85. Let's see. Pinkfish 0704 asks, great income, but Gazelle intents so working part-time. Excellent. Retail gig. Husband thinks it's ridiculous and is funny about me sharing. Sharing what? Your story? What? Your finances? Your life? How do you handle sharing that you have this kind of side hustle with friends and family? Well, like if you do things with them and hang out, sometimes you won't be able to do that because you're working your side hustle. And so you just say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do it that day. I'm doing my side hustle because I am trying to X. which could be pay off debt, which could be whatever baby step you're on, and then they may ask you, what about that? What is that all about? And then you can tell them about the baby steps. You can tell them about Dave Ramsey and his advice, and you don't have to push it down their throat, but if they ask, you can tell them. Let's see, we have $200K in debt and make $17K a month. The side gig allows me to put about $800 a month onto the car note, nearly doubling it, in addition to a monthly snowball of $3K. Thanks for all this perspective. You're doing it correctly. When you have debt, you're supposed to be gazelle intense. You're supposed to work more and spend little, regardless of the $17K a month that you make without the side hustle. And this is exactly the thing that you do. $200K debt, I would imagine some college loans in that, perhaps. And so now you got big boy and big girl jobs. And so you're making the $17K. And it sounds like husband maybe doing the little lifestyle creep and just saying, well, it's all right to have that much. We make this much money. Yeah, you make that much money, but you have way more in debt than you make. So $17K a month is great income. And if you live like a broke college student for 2 years, I don't know, I can't do the exact math in my head for that to see what that is, and depends on expenses, of course. But basically, you live low. You don't raise up the lifestyle called lifestyle creep. You live like a broke college student until you get that debt paid off. And so you're doing it right. Doesn't sound like he's that on board. Hopefully he's on board enough to be wanting to pay down the debt and is doing that, but it's just this working extra side hustle. And maybe he is working overtime. If he's working overtime in his main job, then he's basically doing the same thing you are, which is working extra. And so that's great. If he doesn't want to work extra, but he's still committed to putting everything extra into the paying off the debt, then that's fine, and you will have to live with it. It is difficult, I would say, probably, to have a couple where both people want to be the same amount intense. It does happen, but as long as the husband is trying to pay the debt off as well and is not working against you, but is working with you, just not as intensely as you are, you just need to be able to live with that. So, and that's called compromise, and that's what every couple needs to be able to do, to compromise. And if you can't do that, then perhaps definitely talk about it. And if that doesn't resolve anything, then perhaps counseling. Z, I don't know what that's all about. There's nothing in the, maybe they deleted it, don't know. Deciding whether to repair or sell, severe_present 628. Hello all, recently been swacked with another costly fix on my exhaust system for my 18-year-old Subaru Outback Turbo model. 18 years. Spent $5,000 on the car nearly 3 years ago with about $7,500, $8,000 in repairs since. This job is going to cost around $750 to $1,000 with the creeping suspicion of the techs that fixing the issue will lead to further leaks and blockages in the engine. Well, I would get a second opinion on that from the techs. The car will put me in the hole to keep maintaining, so I'm left to the fire. Well, it's going to put you in the hole. You don't want to keep it then. That's easy. That's easy. Do essential maintenance and flip the car towards a newer model, but keep driving this and hope the repairs stay below the investment cost of a new vehicle. Yeah, that's up to you to decide. I would definitely get more than one company's opinion of that repair. And as far as cost too, I wouldn't take the first person that you take the vehicle to for repair estimate. I wouldn't take their word for that either. So definitely get more estimates, but then it's up to you. If the car is going to put you in the hole to keep maintaining. Now, and that's different than, okay, if the car is going to put you in $100 hole if you keep maintaining it, or you're going to be put in a $5,000 hole in order to get a different vehicle, that's not any better. So you got to decide what is going to be better. So you should flip the car towards a newer model, and you're still thinking about not spending that much. So let's see, $5,000 for the vehicle when it was 13 years old, or no, when it was 15 years old, and that was 3 years. 8,000 is a lot of repairs on a $5,000 car. So if you knew about that ahead of time, that probably wasn't a great idea, because that is $13,000 for the car if like that happened in the first 6 months. So hopefully you had it looked at by a mechanic, or more than one mechanic, even better, before you bought it. But that's the dealio with vehicles. It is your choice, but you definitely do not want to be fixing it over and over again when you could just get a different car. But a different new or used car could easily have problems as well. So that's a choice you have to make and live with, and then reassess if you make an incorrect decision. All right. Let's see. One-day treasury bills. Anybody able to act on this? The treasury site has a document with the details of the one-day bills, but I'm not seeing them as an option to buy as the auction started yet. I don't know anything about that. If it's just 1 day, how much could it possibly be? How much? It doesn't seem like it would be worth bothering with for just 1 day. 1 day of T-bill interest doesn't seem like it would be. All right. Sore _ shoulder debt counseling. Are there THERE #3rd grade counselors out there that help people with debt budgeting? Yes. Not talking about financial advisors or debt consolidation services. Yes, that is what financial coaches do, or part of what they do. Financial advisor is more for like structuring your assets, that kind of thing, and investing and so forth. Debt consolidation, Dave does not recommend, because there you're just moving debt around instead of just paying it off. He says just pay it off instead. But yeah, those are called financial coaches, and that's what I do. So yes, I, for example, can help you with your debt and budgeting. And trust me, I can look at your budget and I will tell you to cut out those 5 streaming services with no problem. No problem. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this I will at this point remind everyone that the Dave Ramsey subreddit is run by fans. It's not run by Ramsey Solutions. So they let people put pretty much what they want to. They do get rid of some stuff, or if a thread gets too contentious, they will lock the thread from further comments. So that does happen. But anyway, Ramsey personally should stop making political assumptions about the cost of living. John Deloney. It's a good time to recommend my music playlist, in which I have 3, yes, count them, 3 Ramsey-centric songs. We have the Dave Ramsey Baby Step song, the John Deloney song, and also a video of me reacting to John Deloney's reaction to the John Deloney song, and the Rachel Cruz song, and I guess that's why we all watch Rachel Cruz. And like I always say, if the divas can rip off Elton John songs, so can I. Alrighty, okay. So John Deloney said that a caller should move away from Syracuse, New York, because he assumed it must have a high cost of living. In reality, upstate New York is almost exactly as affordable as the paradise they describe as Nashville. Well, it costs maybe 2% more to live in the Rochester area. Okay, all right. It doesn't matter what the politics are in Nashville or in Syracuse. Guess what? If they are exactly the same, guess what? The caller can't afford either one of them. Caller can't afford Nashville. Did he suggest moving to Nashville? I don't think he did. The host constantly just assume blue place expensive, red place cheap. No, there can be red places that are very high cost of living. Absolutely. You don't think there's richy Republicans? Sure there are. So there are high cost of living red places, and guess what? You can't afford to move there anyway. No matter, you don't have to worry about any of that other stuff. All you have to do is worry about the cost of living in any place. You don't have to check anything else about the area. You are out based on your income in a high cost of living area if you don't have high cost of living income. People are stupid. Alrighty, this is from Life-Independence 377. I'm brand new at managing my own money. Excellent that you decided to start doing that. Excellent. And I don't know where to start. The beginning, probably a budget. Not sure where to start. I was panicked and burying my head in the sand at first. A lot of people do that. And now I have 2,000 credit card debt. What even is good debt? There is no good debt. Some people argue and say a mortgage is good debt since you're building equity. The best I'll give you on that, it is better debt, but there is no good debt. And that's why the object of the baby steps is to pay all that off, even the house, before you start throwing money at a bunch of other stuff. Now I'm just watching Budget with Me YouTube videos. Perhaps Rachel Cruz does a bunch of those on the Rachel Cruz show. I would watch those. So far I've tracked my recurring expenses. Okay, great. Automatic or fixed. And put the date they pull in my planner, right? Okay. I'm really not sure where to go from here. I'm not used to not blowing money, so I'm trying to learn a different way of life now. Please don't judge or throw shade envy my way. Schadenfreude. You don't know my story. Okay, well, yeah, it doesn't matter. The story really doesn't matter. It definitely, it shapes you. And got you to this point, but we can't change any of the past. What you do is you work with starting now, and so you budget now. And so just by not blowing money anymore, so you know what the difference is apparently between blowing money and not blowing money. So if you stop doing that, it'll be like you got a raise. And so you should be able to, if you're not blowing money, you can pay $2,000 off really, really quickly. And so let's see, managing money. Don't know where to start. Yeah, so knowing what all the expenses are, and that's basically the budget. And what they do is, with the Ramsey people, those people call it a zero balance budget, and that is where every dollar has a name. That doesn't mean that you get your checking account down to $0 every month. That you definitely have to have enough in there to pay the next bill if it comes up before your next paycheck. And so, but what zero-based budget is that every dollar you make in your paycheck has a name on it. And so that name could be to pay for a bill that comes up before your next paycheck, or it could be something in this pay period. So you just do have to work that out depending on when the bill due days are. And you are allowed to have, at the end of the month, you are allowed to have more than $0 in there if you don't get paid on the 31st or the 1st, around the end of the month. If you have some time before you get paid again, you need to have money in there to pay for whatever expenses you have, or bills or debt payments that are due before you get paid again. And so just paying attention is key. That is the most important thing, paying attention to it. So if you're looking at the expenses, you'll get it. And the thing is to not expect to be able to do it correctly the first time on a budget. Give yourself at least 3 months to fail at it, but you will figure it out. And so I don't know why anybody would judge you for trying to be better with your money. If they are, then, that's the internet for you. I guess there would be somebody to throw shade for anything, but this is a good thing you're doing here. So, and this is your first step into a larger world. So that is excellent, and definitely not burying in the sand versus. What you're doing here, you're watching the videos, you're tracking the recurring expenses, so you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna figure it out. Alrighty, and you can of course keep watching the Ramsey Show as well. Historical Trash 4002. Baby step 4, Flare. So that means they have paid off all non-mortgage debt, and they have their full emergency fund. So excellent. Single 36-year-old man, still a baby. Maybe not a baby. Let's see, but not as old as me. I've been following the baby steps since 2016. Excellent. Got out of debt in 2018. Excellent. And now worth $175K. I've got $130K in my retirements. Okay, and the rest in single stocks. Dave does not advise single stocks. 80% are employer stock options that have vested. Dave would say sell those as soon as you can. Dave does not recommend single stock. Okay, I am considering buying a house. Okay, that's fine, but I'd have to save now and save hard. Yep. And that would mean instead of 4, if he decides to start saving a down payment for a house, he'd be in step 3B, which is right in the middle here. And the balance between 3B and 4 is up to the individual. So he can continue to the 15. Definitely wouldn't do extra into single stocks. Definitely not that. But 15 into retirement, not brokerage, but retirement accounts. 15%, but you can lower that to whatever number you want. Or you can lower that to 0 while you save up a larger down payment, which is one way to combat the higher cost of living areas if you don't want to be political, apparently. Let's see. I'm considering buying a house, but yep. I could maybe get $100K to $150K in 3-ish years if my career goes well. I'm wondering if he's not considering stopping investing, and that is up to him. Although I hear insurance is expensive. Instead of hearing something, what you could do is a Google search and find out if it is, and you could get a quote and find out. If so, I could buy and fulfill Dave Ramsey requirement, 15-year, 25% of take-home pay on the mortgage. That's a mortgage, 15-year fixed rate, and the payment around 25% of your take-home pay. Yes, I expect to get at least one big promotion by then. I'm working hard too. Meaning, if it's TOO, if it's working hard as well. Or if it's you're working hard to get that promotion, then that is correct. Although the phrasing's a little, but questionable. But I've seen a lot worse. Hashtag third grade. My question is, would this be worth it? I'm looking at 3 more years of working my ass off and saving a ton. Yeah, again, I think he may not be considering the fact that he could stop investing if he chooses to do that for the 3 years. But I would be in a good financial position on the other end of it. Yes, because you do get the equity in the house. Now, you would not buy that if you're not going to stay there in that area for that long. You need to be in a house at least 5 years before you would buy one, and even that I would be iffy on, because that's a lot of hassle to deal with. Because then you gotta sell it to leave, as opposed to being a renter. You just have to pick up and leave. Let's see. I'm just not really motivated to be a homeowner. You don't have to be. I don't buy that they will go up indefinitely. They do. And being a renter with roommates gives me so much flexibility and lack of headache. That's not, you can rent as long as you want to. Dave just likes the idea of home ownership, and he's been in real estate his entire life. The thing with mortgages is that if you get a 15-year fixed mortgage, that will be paid off in 15 years. If you are renting all that time, after that 15-year period, you will still have to pay rent. So granted, there's home expenses, there's upkeep, there's maintenance that you are responsible for if you're the homeowner. So there's a balance to that. But let's see, but rents do change. Yep, they do go up, and I have had to move often. I would say that 50% of my motivation to get a house is his encouragement. But a lot of his reasoning is if you're going to start a family, and I don't see that in my future. Yeah, that doesn't matter, because it doesn't have to be a big house. I mean, you could get a small house. So it's not just it's not just stay a renter or get a 4-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom house. You could get a 1 or 2-bedroom house instead. You get a small house. Now, a tiny house he's not going to go for. Dave does not like those. But a 1 or 2-bedroom house, you could get that. Or a condo, you could do that. But again, that's only if you're going to be there for at least 5 years. But you are fine to keep renting as long as you want to. Some people do that forever, and they want to do that. And because of just the fact then they don't have to do any repairs. Edit, I'm only considering a residence. I have no desire to landlord. Excellent. That's right. Some of us have no desire to do that, and you definitely should not landlord by default, like buying a house and then, oh, I am moving for this reason or whatever. So since I have this mortgage already, I'll just get a renter and let them pay the mortgage. Does not work like that. Much more trouble than that. But yeah, you don't have to buy a house. So it is up to you whether you want to do it. It generally is a good idea if you're going to be in one area for a long time. And again, you don't have to buy a, let's say, get 100K to 150K in 3-ish years. That with that much down payment, they might be trying to talk about a $400K house for a single person. That's ridiculous. So, and maybe look at 30 minutes outside of town, like a 30-minute drive away outside of town, and get a cheaper house that way as well. So another example of people saying, should I do this or this, and they don't look at anything in between. Painting yourself into a corner is what that is. Alrighty. Let's see. What would you use a car that required you to talk to a financial advisor before going through with a dumb purchase? No, you don't use any debt at all. If you're talking about like a debit card, no, you need to be able to you need to be able to talk to yourself about a dumb purchase. If you're calling it a dumb purchase right now, then you know you shouldn't do it already. So, see, imagine a card where you spend. Who is it? What is this username? Let's see, San Francisco native. Okay. Speaking of high cost of living places, imagine a card where when you spend over $200, you get a call that makes you confirm why you are going over your budget. LOL. Yeah, and they won't have that because the card is owned by banks and they want you to spend that money. Especially if it's a credit card. But even if it's a debit card that pulls from your checking account, the bank still wants the money moving around. That's how they make their money. Silver Hat 5940. Should I downgrade my car to go debt free and go back to school 1 year faster? That sounds like that might be a pretty good idea. Especially if going back to school means you wouldn't be needing a vehicle as much as you do now. Let's see. Hi everyone, the first time I've sought financial advice online. Thanks in advance for any input. I'm also asking this question on the personal finance sub. Okay. You would hope you would get different answers on the Dave Ramsey subreddit than just the personal finance sub, which could be any financial advice. But people do like to give non-Dave advice on here, definitely. Let's see, I make $65K a year and take home $3.8K per month. What's the schooling for? There are 2 additional $1.8K paychecks per year, but I pretend those don't exist for budgeting purposes. Okay, and put them towards credit card debt. Okay. I'm 28, unmarried, and in an apartment by myself. Okay, owe $22K. Oh, doesn't matter the breakdown, doesn't matter the interest. Some context about the amounts is needy, not necessarily, but let's see, a fan has a new vehicle. See, none of that matters. None of that matters. Had no debt at the time. Doesn't matter. Still financing vehicle, still a bad idea whether you have any debt at the time or not. Okay, so none of this matters. Sorry. I don't, you don't really need, there's no excuse for dumb and emotional expending. See, none of this is necessary. Basically, you still have debt. So the thing that I'm looking at is, my goal after paying off debt is to go back to school for a master's degree. Oh, you're going to pay off all the debt to go for a master's degree. How are you paying for the master's degree? Going to go right back in debt? That's stupid. I work in a field unrelated to my BS. Okay. And the master's it's apostrophe S. That's correct because it's a master's in whatever. Will let me work in a field. I think, is it? Yeah, I think that's correct. Will let me work in a field, got distracted, that pays more and is more interesting to me. Okay. You have to have a master to do that? See, you can work in that field with a BS almost all the time. You can still work in that field with just a BS, and you don't need a Bachelor of Science, and you don't need the master. More interesting. Should I sell the car? I have a 2-mile commute to work, and I will be able to buy another newer vehicle again after getting out of grad school. Starting salary in this field is around $80K. You're already making $65, so again, the question here is not more to downgrade the car. Sure, you can do that, and if that's going to get you debt free faster, sure, do that. But as far as what's jumping out at me here is the reason for going for a master's degree, whether it's worth it. And guess what? Not all of them are worth it. You're making, he's at $65K now. So he's going to be making 15 more K, paying how much more for that master's? And And is that going to require going back into debt for that? And so that would be my question instead of the car. That's much more important than selling the car or not selling the car. But selling the car probably would be a good idea, and sounds like it would definitely help you get out of debt faster. But you just can't assume that X degree or X masters is going to be worth the difference in pay that you're making now towards what you could make then. So you don't even know. You aren't guaranteed to get that $80K a year job, and so you just don't know. So all this you must consider. Yeah, all right. Let's see. I started around. All right, we've gone an hour. Let me go like an hour and a half. That'll put me at midnight Central, so that'll be a good time frame. Let's see. Looking for a budgeting app. Please don't assess every dollar. I've already tried it. I didn't like it either. I went back to my first Excel. I think I was on Excel at the time. But I've transferred that over to Google Sheets now. And so I just use a spreadsheet for my budgeting. Let's see, I'm looking for something very specific as I've tried. See, if you're looking for something very specific, then you may want to do a spreadsheet where you can design it. You can design all the fields. So that may be something for you. As I've tried several already that I don't like. I want an app that can see and read my checking account. That's going to be more difficult. Yeah, a spreadsheet cannot read your checking account. I mean, you can download it. You can download the transactions from your checking account. Excuse me, and then you'd have to import it in. Something that will connect to your. I don't know which ones will do that. I know the paid version of $Every will connect to your bank and will be able to see and read your checking account. But let's say you want to categorize everything. I'm taking any. I prefer to do this manually each month instead of doing it automatically. Okay. Automatic categorization for things like the water bill. Yeah, I don't know of any that will do that. So I'm the wrong person to ask. You just check the apps. I know I've heard of some. It's like YNAB, you need a budget, is one. Actually, I think that's the only one I can name off the top of my head. But I don't think that one connects to your bank. And you got to make sure it connects to your bank. The Ramsey sued by $150 million by former fans who followed his timeshare exit advice. Yeah, that's going to happen. Anybody can sue anybody these days. And so as far as the timeshare exit team, they were forced out of business by the timeshare companies, and it probably isn't a big leap of faith to say that perhaps the timeshare companies, of which the biggest one is Hilton, and it's possible that they are actually backing this particular suit. So, but yeah, anybody can sue anybody, whether or not they have any cause or not. They did recommend timeshare exit team, and timeshare exit team was fine until the timeshare companies forced them out of business by continuously filing lawsuits against them. And they could not afford to fight said lawsuit. So they were forced out of business for that. And so if it's just the fact that they went out of business, that's not Dave's fault. That's the timeshare company's fault. So, I mean, that's, that's also a deal where that could be if Dave endorsed a cereal and you got diabetes, is that Dave's fault? You know, so anybody can sue anybody for anything these days. Let's see. And people have tried to sue him, and I don't believe anybody has come out on top on that. Let's see. My boyfriend just told me he bought a house as a rental, but stopped making payments a while back. And also, that lawsuit does not change the validity of any of this advice here. This advice still works. The advice still has millions of documented success stories. That particular thing where the former fans, went in bit or contacted or contracted, they were paying apparently Timeshare exit team to get them out of a timeshare, and so now how that's worth 150 million, I do not know. I mean, maybe it's a bunch of them together. Maybe it's a suit of all of them, class action suit, perhaps. I do not know. Boyfriend just told me he bought a house as a rental but stopped making payments a while back. Boop, 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 doo. Definitely the Price is Right losing sound there. What can he do now to get back on track? We're applying for a home now. Yeah, we are applying for a home now. Well, you shouldn't do that with just a boyfriend. Get married first. The San Francisco native again. Get married first is the first step. The second step, he probably can't be on it if he has, depends on how long, whether not making the payments has reflected in his credit score yet. So, but yeah, you just don't get to stop making payments on stuff without repercussions. So, to get back on track, what can you do to get back on track? We're applying for a home now. The way to get back on track is probably not to apply for a home now. To get back on track would be to work more, spend less, and get caught up and continue paying it. Perhaps, here's an idea, sell the rental. If you can't afford it, sell it. Good idea. Also, another idea, evict the tenants. You move into that house that he already has a mortgage on. Just an idea. Nobody considers the things that you would automatically consider. You already have a house right here. You already have that. So why apply for a different one? Tora Nightingale. What would Dave do? Flair. Budget advice help? Yes. The answer is yes. Budget. We, husband and I, right? Not husband and me in this case. It would be my husband and me if it was at the end of the sentence. Need some help figuring out a budget plan to save money so we can get out of my current situation. I'm going to go ahead and guess cut expenses, spend less, work more. We live in a mobile home in a small town. And while it isn't bad, it is not ideal for the long term, nor somewhere I want to live permanently. I want to buy an actual house in a couple of years and move. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of plans to do in a couple of years, where right now you can't even do your budget by yourself, and you want to buy an actual house in a couple of years and move into it. Let's see, we already stopped eating out. Excellent. 1 week already. Excellent. 1 week not eating out is better than 6 days. And look at it like that. And we're going to lower our grocery budget. Okay, great. Sounds like you're doing great so far. We had no clue how much we were spending until, right, this is the head in the sand thing, just like the other person was doing. You don't pay attention. You just, which I certainly did that in my younger days. Definitely now, I don't see how you can't do that. I mean, even if I don't check my balance on my either in my spreadsheet or go to the online banking website, even if I don't check that, I know approximately how much is in there, and I know what my expenses are. Let's see. So this sounds really weird, but it's I mean, that happens, and I used to do it myself, of course. So, but it has been a long time since that happened. We had no clue how much we're spending until we went through our bank account and added everything up. That is the one beautiful thing about the online banking is that basically can be your budget because you see your expenses there, and then you can even, if it helps you, you can even print that out, and then you can look through it. And then you can mark off the things that, like the Starbucks, you can just get a nice fat black magic marker and draw a line through that Starbucks, and then that's not in your budget for the next month. So you can do that, and so that helps you out a lot there. So yeah, so that's the great thing about having online banking access. So you can see everything that you spent money on. Excellent. My husband and I both work full time. Excellent. Combined, we make about 78K-ish a year. Okay, before taxes. Could we get some help, please? We have nothing in savings. If something were to happen, we'd be screwed. D is close to the S on the keyboard. And we have no clue where to start. Well, you actually do because you stopped eating out already. And you plan to lower your grocery budget. So, and you looked at how much you were spending. So you're starting in the right place. So now you just write down the next month on paper on purpose, and you give every dollar a name. That's how the budgeting app got its name. It's every dollar, because every dollar has an exact name on it ahead of time before the month begins, including all your expenses. And then there's an amount that should be left if you stick to the budget, and that amount that's left gets applied to your lowest debt, the debt snowball. And so you're doing it. I mean, that's how you make a budget. You look at your expenses and you plan out the next month based on those expenses and any other things that may come up. On baby step 2, you don't want to go crazy for like gifts, but like if there's any birthdays or something like that, you would add that to the next month expenses, or anything that is like not every month, like if it's something that you're billed for every 3 or 6 months, like insurance, that kind of thing. And so you would just add whatever is in for the next month. And so you write that down, you write the amount of the income, date of when the paychecks come in, and then you just budget it. You're doing it pretty much. Just need to put it on paper, or do it on a computer, whichever way, or use an app. An app can probably help. At least it will tell you what you should be doing in your budget, no matter what app, or if you just do it on a spreadsheet, it will guide you through everything that you need to be looking at. So that would be my suggestion on that. But you're already doing everything. Sounds like you just need to keep doing it, and don't expect to get the first budget correct. It takes at least 3 months. Anyone's every dollar app not working today. Just one comment on that. Server could have been down or something. What are your thoughts on financial coaching through Ramsey? I think it's a great idea since I am one. Let's see. Baby step 2, Flare, HTTX. My family just started FVU for the first time recently. Tonight's week 3 of the program. This week we had our free conference call with the Ramsey financial coach from week 1. And I was not super impressed, okay? They didn't answer many of my questions. Cut the session short by about 1/3 the allotted time. Well, that's not, neither of those are good. I mean, if him having an emergency is one thing. He could have, or if he had to go for some reason, he could have given you his email and let you ask him the other questions by email, or arrange to call back at some point. So not answering the questions and about 1/3 a lot of time, that's not good either. And they were expensive, and their pricing model didn't add up properly. Well, generally what the coaches would do, a lot of them anyway, they give you a break per session for the more sessions you sign up for in advance. So if you know you're going to need them, once a month for 6 months, if you pay for all 6 months ahead of time, you can get each session cheaper. And so that is very normal. And for consultant work like that, that is very normal. So that is not a problem. So I don't know what did, and that's why it may not have added up properly, because it would be cheaper the more you pay. It should be anyway. So I don't know what this one coach did. Let's see. They told us their inspiring life story. Then quoted us $500 a month for 7 months. 500 seems excessive as well. Depends on how many sessions there are in that month. If it's one a week, then that's 500 isn't out of the realm possibility. Or 5,000 if we paid in cash up front. Yes, then see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's cheaper, but still that seems excessive. If we paid the cash up front, both having unlimited conference calls during the month. Okay, unlimited conference calls. That's that seems like that might be worth it. And didn't explain the price discrepancy. Oh, I see what he's saying. $500 a month for 7 months, so that would be $35 or $5,000 if we. Maybe the $5,000 was for a year. I don't know, but yeah, you're right. That math does not add up. I get you now. Okay, so you got a point there, and maybe that could be for the entire year. I don't know. Seems counterproductive to tack on such an expense when we're supposed to be cutting costs and snowballing our extra money to be paying off debt. Have you tried it? If so, do you think it was worth it? Any comments or general thoughts would be appreciated. No, well, I will tell you this. I was a fan and was on the baby steps and got completely out of debt and got full emergency fund long before I became a financial coach. So, and I never had one. So I was able to get to step 4, and probably with like the amount of watching the show that I do, and reading and just keeping up with my finances in general, I could probably have gotten all the way to step 7 eventually without spending any money at all. But I never took FPU myself. I never took that until I led a class, and that was after I became a financial coach. I think, I'm trying to remember if I might have done the first class before I was a coach or not. I think I was already a financial coach when I did that. And so I did 2 of those classes. Let's see. So it is not necessary. His plan is very, very simple. The main book of his I would recommend reading if you're not going to take FPU. Or even if you do take FPU, it's a great quick read. He uses simple terms, anyone can understand it, explains these baby steps, goes more in depth about them, and of course the Financial Peace University 9-week class goes into even more depth on them and explains them more and lets you talk about them more with other people, other like-minded people who are going through the same thing that you are going through. And so camaraderie does a lot for some people. Being in a group does a lot for some people. And so if that's you, then FPU might be a great idea. But it is not necessary to follow this plan and having to spend money. You don't have to spend any money at all. I didn't spend any money at all until I paid for the financial coaching masterclass. And I did that with the Biden bucks, the stimulus cash. So it happened to be on sale right when I got that stimulus payment. And so I thought, well, if I'm ever going to do it, I'm going to do it now. And so it was like half price. And so I took some of the Biden bucks payment and I became a financial coach. But not everybody needs one. I mean, it can't hurt to take I think almost every financial coach offers a free consultation assessment. And there's no harm in doing that at all. But beyond that, you don't have any obligation beyond that. So you don't have to do that. And it sounds like you didn't sign up for any services from that particular coach. But there are some things, the way you describe it, if it happened the way you describe it, that sounds sus about that financial coach, kind of little cat there, like the kids say, and so I get it, and there are gonna be people like that, even the Ramsey preferred people. We're talking about financial. What is it? It's a timeshare exit team that we were talking about before. Dave recommended them because they had a track record of getting people out of timeshares. He doesn't run their company though, so he didn't know how much money they had on hand to fight lawsuits. So and he doesn't know what every financial coach is going to do. You get the certificate, so you're a certified financial coach. But then after that, what you say to people, the advice you give to people is up to you, basically. You get to say what you want. Now, if Dave hears back from people that anybody he advises isn't giving the correct information, they will definitely investigate that and possibly decertify or, take the referrals away from like the SmartVesta Pros and such. They would definitely do that. But anyway, long explanation short is you don't necessarily need a financial coach. It cannot hurt, especially the free consultation to begin with. But you can have a free consultation with other coaches than just that one. You can find one in your area and get a free consultation from them as well. And so, like I said, I was able to follow the baby steps, get out of debt and get full emergency fund and start investing without having even taken FPU. I didn't even buy the book. I got it from the library, Total Money Makeover. So I did not spend anything to follow his advice, and you don't need to. So some people do need extra help though, and if you do need that help, it is worth hiring a professional to help you. So I haven't paid for one, but I am one. So that's the thoughts from this end of it. All right, from Zealous Ideal, top 392. Where to invest? I have no idea where to go to invest into mutual funds or Roth IRAs. Should I find someone to help me out or go to one of the individual investing sites? I'm lost on where to start. Well, you don't want to invest in anything you don't understand. So you either need to research it. Every bit of information you need is on the Google. It is on the internet. And so you can teach yourself all about it if you have that ability, if you choose to do that. If you don't do that, I would invest. I would invest if I were you, but not until you understand it. And I would suggest was the word I was looking for, not the word you're looking for. I would suggest a SmartVesta Pro. And that because, as I said before, some of them stray off of the ranch, of course, and start doing their own advice instead of the Dave advice. But if you tell them that you were referred by Dave, which they should already know because that's where they would get the referral from, you go to the Ramsey Solutions website and you can find that SmartVesta Pro. and in your area, that's the key as well. It's by zip code, and you can meet with several of them, just like financial coaches. You can meet with several of them and decide which one you're going to go with, if any. But this is a common problem, and that's where you can tell people have absolutely no idea what they're doing. And that's not. I didn't either before I taught myself all about it using the internet. Mutual funds are a type of investment. A Roth IRA is an account type where you would have mutual funds or other investment types inside the Roth IRA account. So those are two different things. So people, that's how you can tell people don't know what they're talking about when they say stuff like this. And so that is very normal. And so, like some people think, let's see, I have a 401k at work, so and they say, what are you invested in? My 401k. Just the 401k doesn't do anything. The being done through your employer, there's more of a chance that there will be some kind of investment plan where there would be certain investments in that. But like if you start a Roth IRA and you transfer cash to it and don't do anything else, you haven't invested in anything. You have your cash inside a Roth IRA, great, and it's only making money market level amounts at that point. You actually have to take that cash once it is in the account and then buy mutual funds. And so which mutual funds to buy? That's the trick too. You need to do research and teach yourself how to pick good ones. Now, if you can't do that and you don't want to hire somebody to teach you about it, the easiest way to go about that would be to buy an S&P 500 index fund. And every brokerage house has one. Fidelity has one. Vanguard has one. Schwab has one. Everybody has an S&P 500 index fund. And there's no thought process that goes into it because it is exactly like the S&P 500 index. It is modeled on that. Now, the managed funds build up their own. It's basically like building up their own index. That's where they decide, well, okay, we're going to get 10% of Apple, but only 5% of Microsoft. We think AMD is going to be good, so we're going to get 15% of that, like that kind of thing. And so, and they would be right about AMD with all this AI excitement. AMD has gone to a high in this past week. So that would be a good idea. But so that, just having that one, that is better than nothing. Now it's better to follow Dave's advice to have a balanced portfolio. And that means you have 25% each category, which is large cap, small cap, mid cap, and international. And 25% in each, that makes 100% of your entire portfolio. And so he recommends managed funds because 40% of those beat the index. And so it's better to beat the index. So if you can pick the correct ones or pay someone to pick the correct ones for you, then that, of course, makes you more money than just having an S&P 500 index. But as you can see, let's see what the year-to-date on that. So the year-to-date is 11.98%. Also on track for being 10% up. Granted, it started low, as you can see here. That's January 1st. Let's see the whole 1 year. And it is slightly up from that, 3.9%. So because you had all this downturn here and this downturn here, and so, and this is just the past entire year, from June 1st of June to the 1st of June here. But that is 3.9%. And so the idea, though, but you can see how much it's made over 5 years. If you invested 5 years ago, you're 54% up. And the max, of course, is crazy. The longer ago that you invested, obviously, the better. Because then stuff like right here, the Pandy Crash is right here. There's the Pandy Crash, and then there's the new high, and then there's the recession crash or whatever you want to. I don't know what they call this. I don't know if they've called that anything yet. But the Pandy Crash, it recovered like 6 months later. It was completely recovered. So there you go. Yeah, 2,532% increase over the life of the when is that? 1983 to 2023. So that is 20 years of it, and it's up to 2,500%, and so that's not bad. So, and just doing that again, that's better than nothing. But it'd be better to know exactly what you're doing. So, and you can learn it. You just have to want to and be able to grasp the concepts. I understand everybody can't do that, and that's when you would ask for help on that from a financial advisor, professional. Alrighty, let's see. Alrighty, yes, we do. Somebody found my stream and commented first, okay, and then some language I don't know, but I appreciate it. Thanks for dropping by. I didn't announce this ahead of time, so my friends and such, they might go to bed early on Saturday nights. Who knows? Who knows? What time is it? How much longer? I'll do a couple more questions. I said I was going to quit at midnight Central. I'm not. I enjoy this too much. I enjoy running my mouth. Let's see. Lucky_cow_8472. Digital cards recommendation. They mentioned on the show some of them use a site or app to pay stuff like free trials or debt collectors using digital debit cards. I just can't remember the name of the company they use. Some of them use a site or app to pay. I don't know what they would be talking about. There are companies that track that stuff and then supposedly can cancel for you memberships and such, but they track all those. Yeah, I can't remember those either. And I forgot to, of course, plug myself earlier. When somebody was asking about a financial coach, yeah, you can do a consultation with me as well, as I mentioned at the start of the show. And that is, you can do that at calendly.com/CoachSteveMoney. And you can just schedule that. If you want to talk to me about it first, you can email me at CoachSteveMoney@gmail.com. And I will be happy to talk to you about that. But yeah, I can't remember I'm trying to think of the name of it. Is it? No, it's not Stripe. That's payment, I think. But yeah, the most well-known one. They sponsor a bunch of the comedian podcasts that I listen to. I'll see if I can remember it. Baby step 2 Flair here. Ultimate_Sir. Saving money while paying off debt. Hello everyone. I saved up my $1,000 emergency fund and now I'm looking to tackle my debt. My question is this: should every dollar not the app, just every dollar that I have after paying bills, groceries, rent, etc., be put to my debt? Yes, except, again, as I said, you need to plan ahead. If you owe something before you get paid again, then that has to come out of this most recent check. So you have to make sure to save that and not put that to the debt. And what I believe a lot of people do is that they hold off a month before they do that. Like they have the extra going to debt a month, at the end of the next month rather than at the end of the current month. You follow me? That way they know that they have enough in the checking account. So. You do have to make sure for that. Like if you paid all your, all your bills but and then sent everything else to your debt, but then you had another bill come due before you get paid again, you wouldn't be able to pay it. So that needs to be accounted for before you send extra to the debt. So whatever way it works for you, you can like delay that. You can make that like send that 2 weeks into the next month or at the end of the next month, whatever, whatever way it works best for you, that you don't get yourself in trouble by sending all your money to debt and then you don't have any to pay bills with. So it seems weird because it feels like when I'm paying debt, I'll essentially be living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, you will. You're not already. Most people in debt are living, and I can say that because most people are living paycheck to paycheck. 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So if you have debt, most of the people having debt, and probably even more than 78% of people that have debt do live paycheck to paycheck. And yes, that's the idea. If that's what it takes, then sign me up. Excellent. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. No, you're not missing anything. But what you're not considering, and this does happen a lot, you're just not considering that the end of the month isn't the cutoff. The cutoff is you have to plan for all your expenses out of one paycheck until you get the next paycheck. And you can't, it's called a zero-based budget, and that means that every dollar has a name, but some of those dollars, their name might be something that comes up before the next paycheck, but isn't necessarily in this month. So that's where a lot of people get confused and thinking that they have to, at the end of the month, they have to have $0 in their checking account. And you would always have the $1,000 emergency fund, and that stays there forever unless you have an emergency, in which case you would use money from the emergency fund to take care of the emergency, and then you would build that. You would pause baby step 2 and put all the extra money into replenishing the $1,000 starter emergency fund, and then you would pick back up into baby step 2. Alrighty. Happy Wharf 17, baby step 6, savings and planning. Hi folks, I'm very new to Dave Ramsey concepts, but I've had a decent start so far. It's pretty easy. It's no debt leverage. You don't do any debt. You pay off any debt you have. Baby step 6 though, reminder, baby step 6 flair here for this person. Pay off your home early. That means everything else is done. That means they've started addressing. You don't have to have the whole college experience paid for. You don't have to have all that money set aside before you do baby step 6. Matter of fact, you do baby steps 4, 5, and 6 all at the same time. So you don't have to have all of that taken care of. You just have to be addressing that. So way to do that is to decide how much you want to help your kid with college when they're 18. And then you divide that by the number of months until they are 18. And that's how much you have to put away a month. And you do that. And then you don't have to think about that step ever again because you continue doing that. You can reassess that after you pay the house off. You can put more to it and finish it off. Or whatever, and you can reassess at that point. But in baby step 4, of course, 15% of your gross household income into retirement. But the OP here, the original poster, is on baby step 6, which is pay off home early. So all this, the rest of this stuff should be done. So that means no debt. That means they have the full emergency fund. That means they are investing. That means they have addressed college, children's college, and that could either be any ways that you don't have children or that you already have addressed it or you've already decided not to help them. Some parents do that. Some parents want to have their child forge on their own, and that's fine. You're the parent. It's your money. You can do whatever you want to with it. Alrighty, so currently probably what Dave would call investment poor. Okay, so probably not doing 15% of gross income then, okay? I live in the Bay Area, ding, 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 high cost of living. where renting is really our only option, okay? We just can't afford the $1 million minimum homes here. Our 3 to 5 year plan is to move back to our hometown, Sacramento, California area, where houses are much more affordable. Hopefully you would have close to the same income then as well. And so that is a good plan. So you're renting there as being temporary, way to not force buying a house. So you're not in baby step 6 actually, because you don't have a mortgage. So that doesn't apply until you're paying off the home early. It doesn't apply until you do have one. So you are in baby steps 4 and 5 then. Unless you're already saving for a house, then you're all the way back in baby step 3. Sorry to give you the bad news. But it's not bad news because the only thing that put you there was your decision to save for a down payment. That doesn't change you being debt free, so that's excellent. Currently we save 10% in pre-tax traditional 401k with a 6% employer match. Okay, we also max our Roth IRAs each year via backdoor. So maybe the 10% there, you don't count the match. The match is just extra gravy on the biscuit, just a bonus. So you don't count that as part of the 15, but the 10 here and the maxing the Roth IRAs, maybe that puts it up closer to 15%, probably. So probably fine, and allocate 15% to make a backdoor Roth 401k. Okay, so that is more then. That's more, which that's fine if you don't have a mortgage in the plans, but you also want to. They are saving for a down payment. So sorry for your baby step 6 player. You're in baby step 3B because you are saving for that. Okay. Taking the step of budgeting now, we definitely live within our means. Excellent, but only by nature, not by intention. We want to save for a house intentionally. Okay, well, you stop doing the mega backdoor Roth you might want to give up on for a time. And Dave is fine with you not investing for 3 years. So you could stop all investing if you want to save for a higher down payment. 220K is great. I know there are not going to be any cheap houses in, what did you say? In Sacramento. There's not going to be any cheap houses there either. But definitely cheaper than the Bay Area. Okay, let's see. After reading Dave's baby steps, it makes me think we're saving way too much for retirement. You are. You weren't until you decided to save for a down payment. Because then you were just a lifelong renter at that point. And so you were basically in baby step 7. But then the second you decide to involve a mortgage, you begin the process of saving for it. And so you're in baby step 3B. And so, yes, you should reduce all that. And so you get the down payment money. Yeah. Should I be reducing the 401k investments in favor of the house down payment fund down to 15% total savings? Yeah, 15% of gross. Yes, and you can go lower than that even. How do you really calculate that of your gross? 15% of gross household income. So you should be doing 15% of yours, and your spouse should be doing 15% of theirs, and that equals 15% household, not 30%. 15% plus 15% doesn't equal 30%. 15% of A plus 15% of B equals 15% of A and B. So that's how you figure that out. A lot of people make that mistake. But how do you calculate that? Just by your gross salary. But you don't even have to save that much. You can cut that down completely or to whatever percent you want to. 15% pre-tax income and then no more savings. Yeah, that'd be the easiest thing to do. The documentation is super unclear here in my humble opinion. It's not really. It's just you think it is because you don't just have the 401k, you have the Roth IRAs, and you're doing the mega backdoor, and you're trying to save for a down payment. It's because you're trying to think about all this stuff at the same time. If you just go back to baby step 4, 15% of your household income in retirement and do that, then I think you would be fine. Although, if the 401k is not a Roth, the advice is to go up to the match first in your 401k, because that's 100% return on investment on the match. And then next would be into your back to a Roth IRA. The max on that, which is $6,500 if you are under 50 years old. It's $7,500 if you're 50 or older. And so I don't think I think you're just trying to, and this happens a lot. People get lost in the weeds and think the math needs to figure out. I think again, this person is trying to, I think I said she before, I don't think they made it clear. So this person, I think they're trying to think of it through a percentage of all of this stuff, not just of their gross income. And so, but as far as the documentation of it doesn't even have to be 15%. If you're saving for a down payment, you can stop this entirely and do zero into retirement for 3 years, up to 3 years if you want to. It doesn't have to be. The balance between baby step 4 and baby step 3B, which is save for down payment, can be whatever you want it to be for 3 years. Even all of one and zero of the other. Let's see. So, any other thoughts on that, Steve? No, I think that covers it. And so, and living in Taxifornia, maybe you want to give up a year or so on investing to save up that much, and then maybe you can do it before 3 to 5 years. But again, that's up to you. If you would feel better keeping it at 15%, but while you're trying to have other goals for your money, investing 15% should be the maximum that you do. That's why it says 15% of your gross household income in retirement. And now, before you decided to to buy a house, you were in baby step 7, which is build, wealth, and give, which means you can invest whatever you want, and that's fine. But then when you decide to save for a down payment, you put yourself all the way back in baby step 3B right here. Alrighty. How did you communicate financial boundaries with your family? Dave likes to say no is a complete sentence. Boundaries. Paging Dr. Cloud. He wrote a book called Boundaries. Hey, I belong with you, and you belong with me. You're my sweet heart. That song goes, hey, ho. Okay, my mom is going to California this week for vacation, and my sisters volunteered me to give my mom a couple $100 in spending money. What you can say to that is no. You do have the opportunity to say no. Negatory, good buddy. Negative, Ghost Rider, the pattern is full. You can say that. I don't mind helping my mom out, but this is becoming a recurring theme with my family. Assuming I'm going to pick up the tab, you just start saying, no. Sorry, can't do it. Financial goals. I have financial goals. Offering up money because you have a good job and you budget. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you get a good job and you budget, and then you can give mom the money for spending money. My sister's living their best life and then asking me for money for food since you just got a good job. Yeah, you say no to that. You say no to that. If you're smarter, if you're being more intentional with money, then they should not be rewarded for that. They need to do the same things you have. And if they can't, they need to live within their own means. And so you don't pick up the tab and not even for your mom, I understand. I mean, you can give your mom whatever gift you want to give. But that amount does get to be up to you, assuming you are living on your own now, I'm assuming. Let's see if there's any more. I don't think there is. Let's see. I do not want my family to ever think I'm cheap, a cheap son of a gun, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they think, really. But I worked hard to get here. Heck, I have student loans for 2013 and still paying off. Yeah, you still have debt. And so every time they say you have a good job and you budget, then you could say, well, you could get a better job and you could also budget. Even if you don't get a better job, you could budget. So, and I have student loans to pay off, so I can't. Sorry. And simple as that. And so, how do you communicate financial boundaries with your family? You just have to be strong enough to say no. You just have to be strong enough to open your mouth and say it. And you say the words. There's no trick to it. So, and if you can't do that, then perhaps you need counseling. You could also, before that, you could also speak to a pastor if you're in a church. You could do that. But counseling, if, anything is better than just letting them do this to you all the time, just because you cannot say no because you don't want to look like the bad guy. You're paying off your student loans. Your financial success has to be more important than looking like the bad guy. They're allowed to have whatever opinion they want, and if they're going to have that opinion, they're not a very good family. They're not very nice. They're not very nice people. So if they're just going to be envious that you have a better job and you budget and such, yeah, they don't sound like they're better job. And it doesn't sound like the mom is doing this. It sounds like that's more your sisters, and so your deal is with them, and so you just need to tell them no. I'm sure you told them no when you were a little kid, when you didn't want to do something that they wanted you to do, so do that again. Sell the home, almost debt-free, waiting on the Biden administration to forgive loans at the end of June or not. Regardless, I'll be debt-free. Alrighty. Dave does not recommending for waiting on any administration to do anything as far as your financial life. Let's see. So my mortgage with homeowners agent eats up 28% of my take-home pay, and that's, you can live with that. That's close enough to 25, so that's fine. But the housing market is too crazy, so I downgrade for less home here at the same or increased cost. So don't do that. Keep your house. I'm running out of room to cut. No cable, cheapest phone plan, no pool, one streaming service, no Amazon Prime, fast food, probably 2 or 3 times per month, no car payments. Believe me, I'm cheap. Okay, great. So it sounds like you got to be even more cheaper though. The house isn't that extra 3% on the house isn't hurting you. And like you said, the rent would probably be more than your mortgage. So I'm about to buy a motorcycle. Oh, to commute since I take 3 gallons of fuel per day. That sounds like a long commute. If houses are cheaper near where you work, I would consider moving there. Let's see if somebody thought of that. Utilities, water, home, no payments on anything. Gas is so expensive, and the V8 drinks a lot. 17 miles commute one way. 17 miles. That's not bad. But I mean, if you get that motorcycle, maybe you can make up for it there. So only debt the house and student loan. If I paid the loan off today, I'd have 3 months of expenses saved. Okay, and that's what Dave would recommend to do. Pay out the loan. Not wait for the Biden administration or anybody. Let's see. If you cut out as much as you can, you're living like a monk. The only option is to find a way to make more income. That is so true. I got to learn the passive income route. There is not really any of that. Because in doing that, you are at least investing your time, so it's not really passive. and there is initial expense. And so that's not going to help you afford anything, having an initial business starting expense. So let's see. Cash flow now can be useful. Sure they can, but you don't have any. And you can't set any up. You don't have any money to set any passive income up. Let's see. $8,000 motorcycle is going to cost you more than it's going to save unless you're doing 1,000 miles per week. Yep. I'm looking at 1,500, 25. Okay. La, la, la. Okay. The issue with the percentage rolls is not a one-size-all-fits solution. 28% sounds great unless you're making $60K a year. That 28% will leave you with about $3K of the mortgage, email, so deaths. Don't imagine $3K would go too far. Okay. I need to find better pay, but I need more experience first. Okay, and so yeah, you can't do everything all at the same time. You can't get more experience in your main job that you have. You can't set up a side hustle. Not all of them. I mean, you could work extra. So if you can work overtime where you are, do that. You can get a part-time job as well. So yeah, it sounds like, I mean, you're in great shape, having enough money to pay off your student loans. I have a feeling that even at the end of June, the student loan thing will be kicked. The can will be kicked around to the next election, I'm guessing. Just a guess. But yeah, the mortgage percentage isn't the problem. The rest of the stuff is. And so all this gas, I mean, to make up $10,000 spent on a motorcycle, to make up that much gas savings, you've got quite a bit of time before that motorcycle pays for itself. And see, that's the problem. And so instead of immediately fixing the problem, that just created $10,000 in extra expenses. Unless you can sell your other vehicle, which it doesn't seem like that was on the table. Talking about selling the home, but not the other vehicle. Sell the expensive gas guzzler vehicle is what I would suggest. And it's a lot of times the answer to the question is not A or B, that like the caller on the Ramsey show will always ask, should I do A or B? And Dave tells them, well, it's what you didn't offer, which is the option of C or even D or E. And so people paint themselves into corners all the time thinking they can do just two things. They have just two options, and that is not the truth. Okay, student loan study link. Recently was up with Dave and Dr. D talking about how a recent paper showed that those with public student loans were doing worse than those with private loans, perhaps due to the promise of loan forgiveness. Is anyone able to find this article? Thought it'd be interesting. I don't know. A lot of times when they do studies, let's see, universities do studies, the government does studies, and polling places do studies. I wonder if I did these before. Let's see. Need advice. It's from Big. Alrighty. Need advice. I have 3.4K in credit debit. That means debt. A lot of people make that mistake too. Debit and debt are two different words. So, let's see, 3.4K in credit debt, no I in debt, that I have gotten due to the COVID in 2020. Well, no, it wasn't because of COVID. It was because you turned to credit to fix your problem instead of working more or spending less. Let's see, I have 7K saved in bank account from working 2 jobs. Then you should not have any credit. Debt. I should be paid. I've been paying my credit bill every month, minimum payment, but I've been paying $500 every month. You should just pay it off then. Because baby step 2, all you should have in savings is this $1,000. That's all you should have in savings. Everything else goes to pay off debt. In your experience, would it be better to just jump the bullet? Okay, that's fun. I love it when people mix up sayings. It's either jump the gun or bite the bullet. Jump the bullet. All right. And pay it off all in one payment. Yes, that would be the Ramsey advice. Or just keep paying 500 months till all the money saved. Just in case something happens. No, you're supposed to just have $1,000 in case something happens. That's your starter emergency fund while you have debt. Now, if this is the only debt you have, then you're debt free today. You just pay it off. Hopefully they did so 4 days ago after they posted this. You just pay it off, and then you have 3.6K in savings. And that can be the start of your full emergency fund, assuming that there's no other debt. This from Lefty Flip 14, baby step 1 flare, and of course that means that you're starting, so budgeting and saving up the $1,000. To be honest, I'm a little frustrated with the budget. Honestly, and to be honest, way too overused these days. I'm overall a very organized and frugal person, 31, have been able to live below my means, pay off all my debts, sit in 55K savings. Sit in a 50, what does that mean? I mean, I drive a 2006 Lexus, I don't need more. I own a company that's probably growing. Okay, so if you have, I don't know what sit in a 55K savings means, but if you have 55K in savings, again, you're doing it wrong. So you see here what baby step 1 says. It says $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. And oh look, pay off all debt except the house. So you have debt other than the house. So you don't go to save more than the $1,000. You pay off the debt with all that money except $1,000. So you're doing it wrong. So, but that doesn't, that's not what the subject of the question is. But they're often doing something wrong. That isn't necessarily the question. So I'm not in the mess. No, there's a lot of people, a lot worse people off than you. Always. But I know a lot of my salary, my wife's salary, is wasted on eating out. Yep, and other activities that are not accounted for. I've tried many different systems. I don't have a discipline problem, as my results show. I just have tried systems that I see flaws and cause me to stop using them. Well, you know where the most flaws are if you look in the mirror. I know this is the first of the baby steps, and I did it. The way I saved was we put together all the money we make in a month, and we made a list of what we spend in a month, and then we put the rest on savings. But I feel like this is a very simple budget, and we're not saving enough if we're spending too much on whatever. I can't know. So I'm on baby step 3B, but I feel I need to revisit baby step 1. If you have debt, let's see, pay off all my debts. Okay. All right, my mistake. So you are in 3B, but you don't need to revisit baby step 1. You just need to find a better budget. So if you do it on paper, it can be exactly the way you want it to. So I don't know, just to try systems that I see flaws and cause me to stop using them. So I'm wondering what the flaws are. Oh, let's wait in this 46 comments and see if the OP, which is the original poster here, gave more information. But I'm just wondering what the flaws are. And I'm wondering if that's just an excuse to stop budgeting. Could be. We'll see. I tried it, but being in Dominican Republic, all the cool integrations don't work. Right. Well, you won't be able to get it probably with any of them in Dominican Republic. You probably can't integrate it with your bank. I tried signing on for Financial Peace University, but it's only for the U.S. Yep, because it has university in the title. Other countries don't like it and won't allow it there. Try you need YNAB, you need a budget, yeah. See what the problem is. Gonna go along. Might spend on audiophile headphones and stuff like that. Okay, well, we're seeing the issue now. I mean, if that's one time, you can put that in your budget. That's fine. You can do that while saving for a down payment on a house. You can do that. Maybe your budget just needs to be more specific, right? That's why if you do it in a spreadsheet or you do it on paper, you can make it do whatever you want it to do. So I don't get it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm having a hard time understanding the problem too. So they started bugging me because I was talking budget with a friend and he was so organized about it. I felt like a mess. Okay. But I'm not in a mess, and maybe I'm overthinking it. Usually. I'm an overthinker myself, so I get into that trap myself, but I don't normally blame myself for anything. So I wouldn't like immediately say, "Oh, that should be it." 6 months does have 6 months emergency fund, so that's great. Right, the budget is pre-baby step 1, right? That's part of baby step 0, yeah. Video to come soon on that. Only reason I have what I think is thanks to the amazing by a guy called Dave Ramsey. Yep, absolutely. All right, so yeah, just wants more control of it, and does see probably, like, if you buy expensive headphones and stuff like that, then you're just trying to maybe do too much at one time. Who knows? I mean, there could be any number of things going on here, and it's not just the different country, because again, if you write it out on paper, you can make it do whatever you want to. So that is not the issue. All right, I'll go do a couple more. Why not? Is there a reason I shouldn't sell my house? Okay. Yeah, just never know. Okay. And the reason I shouldn't sell my house. Some people will tell you never sell real estate, and that's not accurate. If you have a bunch of debt in addition to the house, you might have to sell it. If you bought too much house, you might have to sell it. Want input because I feel very confused about whether or not I'm doing the right thing. Whoa, that's War and Peace here. What do we got here? Abusive relationship for 2 decades. All right. That can certainly affect your thinking about things. Kept the house 30 years old, which I owe about $130K on. It's supposedly worth about $430K. Okay. Well, if you don't like the house because it reminds you of your previous relationship, that's a good reason to sell it. The quick math answer on why you should not sell it would be if renting a smaller house would be more expensive. Or if you move down in it, you can't move down in a house enough where it would save you significant money per month on the mortgage. Boom, boom, boom. Kids finally realizing the gravity of the situation. That's about $50K a year. All right. I will have about $50K a year in student loan debt when I graduate in 2025. Yeah. $40K liquid cash. Doing it incorrectly, should be using that liquid cash for paying for school instead of racking up the debt. What was the question? Now, you selling the house and moving to a gated apartment community. Sadly, I got into another relationship. That person was talking to me. That's the gate. Yikes. Okay, do not want to live in this house forever. It's way too big for one person. My kids should be out on their own in no more than 5 years. Okay, okay. Yeah, get rid of it. No. There is not an amazing reason you should keep the house. No. The only thing is find out how much that gated community is going to cost. And if it costs more than your mortgage payment, then consider staying there. But if you think the gated community thing will be much better for your psyche, then do that. have between 0 and now 11K in credit card debt. So you have 11K, not between 0. She's saying it fluctuates. You usually pay off the credit card each month. I use about a credit score, doesn't matter. But I chose always to put the summer semester on tuition on one card because the loans I received only cover 2 semester per calendar year. Right, that's a choice. So there's no had to it. People say I had to all the time. Nope, you know. I will receive 5K from a job at the end of the semester to pay the money back. Okay, great. Yeah, so I don't see, it sounds like you really want to sell it, so sell it. I don't see any problem with that. Again, I would make sure of the costs involved in renting in the gated community. Twin babies on the way, so immediately what you do here, no matter where you are here, you pause immediately. You pause and just pile up cash until mom and baby are home safe. Babies in this case. 401k max out or pay off federal student loan debt? Neither. As I just said, you pause and every bit of cash stays with you. I mean, you can keep investing 15%. That's all you should be investing. While you have student loans, that's non-mortgage debt, so you should not be investing at all even while you have that. So you're doing it wrong. Congratulations on the babies though, but you're doing it wrong. So pause it, pile up cash, and then when you resume it, guess what? You resume it, you're back on baby step 2, pay off those student loans and any other debt. So you're doing it wrong. All right, eb_gold. 20 and I have around 40K in the bank. I'm looking to invest my money. Where should I start? You should learn what you're doing. If you don't have any idea, the fact that you're asking means that you don't know what to do. So you'll spend a lot of time on the internet figuring out how to do it. Or if you cannot do that, you pay a financial advisor, investing professional to explain it all to you. And that is well worth the money. You should not invest in anything you don't understand. So either make yourself understand it. That's what I did. All the information is on there about how to open up the accounts. Open up the accounts are very easy. Easier than opening a bank account, as a matter of fact. You can do it all online. That is very easy, and that is no problem. You could probably figure it out if you went to any brokerage site, and you would if your employer does not offer a 401k, you would do a Roth IRA, and you can open that at any brokerage account, and that part is very easy. The next part is you put the money into the account after you establish it. But then you have to decide what investments to buy with it. And Dave is going to suggest manage mutual funds for retirement. Now, if you're saving for a purchase, I use S&P 500 index fund to do that. But you have to have a 5-year period before you will need the money, just in case the market is down the exact moment you need the money. Let's see. Whoa. Big. What in the world? Hey, Matty Bags. How's it going? I know this probably isn't true, but do you pay more for car insurance, health insurance if you have an undeterminable credit score? No. No. You don't. It depends on the area. The state up north, Michigan, is the most expensive insurance in the United States. It's based on the area, etc., your driving record, of course, etc., etc. Just asked Reddit, how long does it take for my score to become 0? And they just bashed me, LOL. Don't ask Reddit anything, Maddie. You know better than that to ask the Reddit. You can just send me an email, Maddie. But yeah, they will. even here on the Ramsey subreddit, you know, I mean, it's the internet. You know, you can only expect so much from the internet. So I find that most of the answers they give on these, that people post on these, are at least Dave-ish, if not all the way. But some of them are like, you know, crypto bros or whatever, and so they're immediately advising everything that Dave doesn't advise, though. So let's see. Alrighty. Oh. But yeah, so that doesn't, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it may be, credit score may be factored in a little bit, but that it's only a little bit. It would not be enough to justify playing around with debt, even if it was a couple dollars more. And that's all it would be. It wouldn't be anything significant. Where was I? Okay, so yeah, SmartVestor Pro on Dave's website then that's at least, that means somebody has talked to them about investing in the Ramsey way. And so that is better than just picking someone off the internet or out of the phone book, because at least Dave's team has talked to them. But again, you gotta kind of know what's going on anyway, just in case they're giving you the wrong advice, which unfortunately does happen. Some people that Dave recommend do stray off the ranch, and if so, he does want to know about that immediately. Call the customer care line. There have been people in the chat that have said that their Ramsey referred advisor has advised non-Dave stuff, and so it does happen, unfortunately. Maddie asking questions on the Reddit instead of just emailing me. How dare you, Maddie? Alrighty, Understanding Life 255. What would you do? You purchased a house 3 years ago. Mother-in-law's on the deed. Beep, boop, boo, doo. As you could not qualify for the loan amount. Yeah, you don't do that. You don't buy a house with anybody else, just a spouse or yourself. You don't do it with any other friends or family. That's a way to lose friends or family. She will be living with you and paying rent until wife finishes school. I don't know that you can do anything at this point. You may just have to get it out. Let's see. Another relative rented a room for the first 2 years. Your daughter is born and wife's graduation got delayed. Of course. That's another thing that happens so much. All these females signing for student loans, when they're signing for the student loans, they don't ever think, oh, I might eventually have a baby and want to stay home with the baby all the time and not work. But I'll go ahead and sign for the student loan anyway. They don't think about that. That's something that should be considered. It will be another 1.5 years till she graduates, hopefully. Mother-in-law leaves. Okay, in situation getting better, maybe your mortgage represents 60 of your take-home pay, and that is not sustainable. No other debts. You have a fully funded emergency fund, contributing a little less than 10% for taxes to retirement. Income allows to pay living expenses, being super conservative on groceries. Okay. Would you sell the house, go rent cheaper, if you can rent cheaper? It depends on how long you had. 3 years ago, yeah, you might want to sell it. Problem is, she's on the deed. She may not want you to sell it, and that's the problem. I mean, you could force a sale, but that would involve lawyers, and that's more money. Let's see. Would you sell the house, go rent somewhere cheaper? The profits go into what profits? Go rent somewhere cheaper. The profits Go into high yield savings accounts until you both are ready to afford to maintain. Oh, you mean the difference between renting and the mortgage payment? That's not really profit, but all right. Go into a high yield savings account until you both are ready. Well, you would follow the baby steps, I would assume. Or just downsize and buy a smaller place. You can do that. Everything's an option. Or would you stay there until wife brings that second income? You already have a house. Yeah, the thing here is how fast do you think you would want to get in a house again? And what does that look like? And again, you have to decide, is something else going to happen that delays wife's graduation? That means, I'm assuming, brings that second. Okay, so there's no second income now. So, I mean, any number of things could happen. You could have another kid. Who knows? 60% is too much, though. That is way too much. Even though you're affording it, you can't afford anything else. Although you are saving for retirement somehow while paying 60%. So you must be living pretty frugally. So selling the house could get you out of that. And then when you buy again, you could buy it closer to the 25% of take-home pay that Dave recommends. But 60% of take-home pay, that is not good. So it depends. You would have to get that pay up. Maybe that means you work more, possibly. I understand if mom is in school, then somebody has to watch the child. I understand that, but you have to work it out somehow. But keeping that at 60% with your current for another year and a half, that could be extended just like it was extended before. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. I would probably, not knowing everything, not knowing all of the financials involved in this, being able to do the 10% in investing and do the 60%, so that's going to be around 70, not because that's 10%. Oh, 10% before taxes, and the 60% is of after taxes. So it's a little bit. So that may be like 65, 67, something like that. But that's still 70%. So you don't have much wiggle room for other expenses. Thank goodness you got the fully funded emergency fund. Yeah, you could try it. You could try just pushing through for the 1.5 years, but again, you can't. That's not 100% certain. Just like it wasn't 100% certain that she would finish school when she was before. So could be delayed again for any number of reasons. So the big problem, though, even bigger than the 60%, which is a big enough problem, is that your mother-in-law is on the deed, and so that's not good. I would try to remove her as quickly as possible, unless she thinks she needs some of the money, and maybe you have to sell it to get out of her being entangled with your mortgage. So that could be two birds with one stone there. So that's what I'll recommend on that. Looking further at that and seeing what the dealio is. Oh, let's see. Urgent need for financial advice in debt situation. First time getting into debt, and I need some advice on how to get out as quickly as possible. There's a little thing called baby steps. If you want to have financial peace, you should do Dave's baby steps. And that would, of course, be in the music playlist, Dave Ramsey Baby Steps song, temporary lyric video. And it's been the temporary lyric video for 1 year since I haven't done a better recording and a better video for it yet. So, yeah, it's going to be baby steps always. When in doubt, baby steps. First time getting into debt, and first time, you got a lot of it for just first time. Need some advice how to get out as quickly. You pay it as quickly as possible. It's getting me stressed. I had some family emergencies. The other issue caused me to rack up a lot of credit card debts. No W on that. Would appreciate any advice. Current debts doesn't matter. Percentage doesn't matter. Look at the percentage on that though. See, and this is how banks have those big buildings. Look at that. Look at the percentages of that. So maybe some family emergencies aren't emergencies, maybe. But going into debt for emergencies is not a good idea at all. A monthly car payment of $427, that's not good at all. But the answer is going to be baby steps. I'm able to set aside $1,100 monthly towards the debt at the moment. I have $1,500 emergency fund and liquid cash. Cut that down to $1,000. The extra $500 is not gonna do you any good. That's not gonna be the difference. But if that's the difference on you doing the baby steps and not doing them, fine. Have $1,500. Because you will be better off. Let's see, receiving $12,500 settlement check for a total vehicle. Okay, in a few weeks. All right. Elective dental procedure schedule. That you cancel. Cancel. I have $4,000 in an Anthem HSA account. Should I cancel? Yes. For 3 implants. Yes, you can do that later. It's elective. You do that later. And a card interest bill just appeared, and it was about $430. Yep. Should I seek debt consolidation? No, because a lot of times debt consolidation will just have you pay them instead of the, if it's a service. Now, if it's just a debt consolidation loan, it's just gathering it all up into one place and making you feel like you did something, but you still owe the same amount of money, if not more, probably more, because you do have to pay a closing fee on that, or a loan origination fee on the new debt consolidation loan. Now, if it's a debt consolidation service, a lot of times what they will do is have you give all your money to them and they will pay your bills, but they will let them go into collections, and then they will look to settle those later after they have been in collections and for a while. And of course, that does destroy your credit, which we don't really care about, but that's something they may not tell you up front. Seek out a personal loan with lower APR. The interest isn't the problem. The problem is that you went in debt in the first place. So just pay it off as quickly as possible. How should I approach dealing with this situation? Thank you in advance. Dave doesn't recommend moving it around. He recommends paying it off and paying it off immediately. Smallest to largest. That means the Bank of America $500 one, that's gone today with because you have $1,500 emergency fund. That $500 will go immediately to that. And so, yeah, baby steps. All right, let's try. Let's do one more. What time is it? All right, I always go longer than I say I'm going to go. C. Bolden 15. Which debt should I pay first? We do smallest to largest. Baby to pay all debt except the house using debt snowball. It doesn't say it right here, but debt snowball, it means smallest to largest. So I'll give you a break on that for not knowing that, because it doesn't actually say that in the baby steps list. Let's see, I have $24K worth of debt, including my mortgage. $12K. Oh, I see. Here's what the dealio is. Highest rate is 4.5% when payments resume. This person is concerned about the interest rate. You don't go by that. You go by, they're both 12K. I see. This almost seems like this is a setup question. Let's see. 15 in cash that can be applied to debt elimination. Which should I pay off first? I would, unless they are exactly both 12,000, I would settle the difference by using the smallest. If it's not, I would flip a coin. Do whichever way you want to. You can do the since that's definitely when the payments resume, the interest rate will be on there, and this one doesn't have an interest rate, so you can, it doesn't really matter which one you do because they're the same. So, and then hopefully you would have the card paid off before the 18th month period. But again, it doesn't really matter that much. Let's see. If the credit card is not paid in full by the end of the introductory period, I'll be rolling the balance to a new balance transfer card, offering 12 to 18 months without interest. And this rolling it, that's not Dave's advice. So don't do that. You're just moving it around. You're not paying it off. You're not making any progress at all. And it's just making you think like you've done something when you have not. Anyone disappointed by the 14-day Money Finder emails? I signed up for the 14-day Money Finder. This must be something Ramsey Solutions offered, maybe? That is literally just telling you to make a budget and then tuck away a few extra dollars to gift yourself with later. Is that a Ramsey? I learned nothing new and found no extra money because I already use a budget book. All right. Well, maybe this is not for you since you already use a budget book. So, and are familiar with it. Maybe this is more for a newer person. I don't know. Or maybe it's for somebody that doesn't have it as well together as you do. I'm not familiar with exactly what it is and how it even came up in order for you to sign up for it. But I would not expect everything that Ramsey offered to be tailored exactly to you. So that can happen. First call. Let's see. This is what? That's 2023. First call, Dave tells the caller to just not pay their cards or loans. What? Such bad advice. I can even, man. Yeah, incur the late fees for no reason. What a joke. I don't know what he's talking about. No clue. Dave would not tell them to do that. Unless it's a crazy situation, unless they're already in bankruptcy, maybe in bankruptcy proceedings, maybe, or have some other major life situation, major emergency or something happening. I don't know. I don't know what the situation would be, but Dave just wouldn't say that for no reason. So I'm sure Dave has a reason for that. Because he has a show and he has enough of a presence to warrant a subreddit. And you're just a person trying to rabble-rouse and you're posting on somebody else's thing and you don't have your own thing. So I don't know what the call was about there. So let's see. So Mr. Strawn, baby step 2 flare, and of course baby step 2 pay off all non-mortgage debt. Debt snowball, smallest to largest. Buy new oven or hold out until after baby step 3. Hold out until after baby step 3. Durr. Oven just broke. Oh, broke. Stovetop still works. If you can make that work, that's great. Been on great minimum baby step 2. It should be debt free by the end of the month. So just a month. Just make stovetop stuff for the rest of the month. Invest in new oven now, out of small EF, or keep pushing through. Just wanted some other opinions. I would do that for another couple months. If you don't have a crock pot, you can buy a crock pot and make some stuff that way as well. But I would push through without doing the oven, since the stovetop still works. And so, maybe if you're really good friends with a neighbor, maybe you could ask them to, go over and visit and ask to borrow their electricity, their oven for, to make, 1 meal a week or something. Maybe you could work that out. Like, especially if you visit the person often anyway, you could maybe see if you could make something in there, prepare it at your house, and then just take it over there to cook. That kind of thing, and just talk while it cooks. That's a thought. Starting journey on baby step 2. The week outside these years, pursue a debt-free wealth building lifestyle. Excellent. That's from 925 Job. I have 1K savings. That would be your baby step 1, and then you would be on baby step 2. Accurate. Some people don't know what baby step they're on. I've cashed out various crypto accounts and brokerage accounts. That's advised by Dave, yes, amounting up to about $900 total. And that's great. So, I mean, that's not changing your life if you leave it in those accounts anyway. So that 900 is doing you better by being applied to your debt. I put my motorcycle up for sale on the Facebook Marketplace. I have $2K in credit card debt, $8K motorcycle loan, and $23K vehicle loan. You could sell the motorcycle to the guy that was trying to sell his house or something. I don't remember. They all run together. All the questions run together. But he was thinking about buying a motorcycle. Let's see, I'm divorced and in the military and rent an apartment with about half of my check going to child support. Feel good about this, and I know it will be for the best. Yes, it will. In the military, I don't think they let you have secondary jobs. Half going to child support is a lot. Hopefully, maybe you can get up in rank in the military and get more money. Hopefully. But doing the baby steps, you'll definitely be in a better situation than you were before. Absolutely. Either way. Budget line items. This is from Chitty Ariana Grande. I know her. Not personally. Budget line items. Husband and I are in baby step 3B, 4, 5. You shouldn't start 5 yet. You should do 3B and 4 at the same time. And the balance between 3B and 4 is up to you. You shouldn't be addressing kid college while you are saving for an upgrade. Okay, here we go. We own a home but are saving to upgrade, ideally about $300,000 more. And we have a budget but aren't very strict about it. And in the last year since we had our baby, we've fallen off the wagon a bit. Yeah, and so, I mean, as long as you aren't going into debt, it's not that bad of a situation. But anytime you're not intentional with money, you're not doing as well as you could be. As we work toward our goal and the down payment to a new home within the next 3 years. Okay, so it's not like a renovation to the house. It's to buy a bigger one. And now you have one baby and all of a sudden you need a bigger house. You don't have 2 bedrooms in that house. So I would question that always. Always question whether you need a new house or not. I think it's time we have a more specific budget to follow. So let's pause through the cracks. Yeah, do make the budget whatever you need to in order to stick to it. We've been pretty lazy. Yep. The more time I spend back in the Total Money Makeover world, Miss Dave's book, highly recommend reading it. It gives a lot more in-depth on the baby steps. The more I realize we can be doing a lot better. Absolutely. I'm not going full scorched earth, rice and beans, but somewhere in between, being totally apathetic and also reaching our financial goals. And that's fine. Once you have paid off your debt, you don't have to be gazelle intense. So you can budget, fun stuff. You can budget vacations. You can budget, fun expenses. You can, buy toys even, adult kind of toys. When I say adult toys, I mean like video games and even a motorcycle or something like that. Let's see. In all honesty, definitely do the honesty disclaimer. I 100% could go full gazelle intense, but my husband works a job he hates, and there's always something. And if we cut our lifestyle back more than 10 to 20%, he would go into a deep depression. How do you know? Did that happen before, or are you just assuming that, oh, look, it's a book, it's a book. Well, we don't need all that information. We just need to know what she's trying to do, and we do know that she's trying to save $300,000 to upgrade in house, as in buy a different house. Original input of my budget line item specific enough. You can make it as specific as you want to. That's not the issue. The issue is sticking to it. If you can stick to it, you can go specific as you want to, or not specific, as long as you stick to it. Instead of seeking funds, does it make sense to just make a general savings account and take out whatever we need when necessary and delete those line items? You can, you just have to watch it with that, because then all of a sudden things that like you wouldn't make a specific line item out of, you would just cash flow it. Stuff like that is not necessary. You may, if you have an X amount in a general savings account, you may make general purchases out of that way more than if you put down each individual line item. And so that's just what you got to think about ahead of time. Take out whatever we need necessary. Is it worth the effort to disaggregate the groceries to pet care and household and food? No, I don't think that's necessary. Is it one? What is it? Is it, looking to see if it says kids, Spotify, and rotate through media subscriptions. Oh, they have 2 at a time. Okay. Daycare, $16.90. Do they both work? Couldn't care less about vehicles. This is correct. Couldn't care less, not could care less. Could care less means you do care, because you could care a lesser amount. So yes, couldn't care less is correct. You couldn't care less about vehicles, but maybe your husband does. So house savings, $2,000. And what's that mean? I don't know what the house saving means. See, that's the problem with having more of a generic savings, is that you end up taking money for everything out of it. And like, which shouldn't be like that. Shouldn't be generic savings. Shouldn't be like fun money and stuff like that. So I would say you need to be somewhat specific, but as far as how specific, that's going to be up to you. Alrighty, it's 2:10 Eastern Time, 1:10 here in the Central Time Zone. I guess I will call it a day here. Let's go back to my YouTube page. Let's pull up the old Streamlabs, which I'm seeing on my, I switched to it. You guys can't see that. The magic of YouTubing. All right, so appreciate you watching. Once again, I'm Coach Steve Money, Ramsey Solutions Certified Financial Coach. And yes, you can schedule a free, no obligations, financial coaching consultation assessment with me at calendly.com/Coach Steve Money. You can do that if you are having money problems, or if you just want to make sure you are on the right track. You can email me about coaching or anything else on my YouTube channel, like Oak Island, computer stuff, video games, anything got on your mind. Channel donations can go to paypal.me/Coach Steve Money. You can add me on the gram at Coach Steve Money. And of course, this YouTube channel is youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. And as we like to say, which is on my YouTube page, make smart financial decisions every day. And yes, I'm aware every day should be 2 words. I need to get Christopher Pittman to make me another version of this banner. All right, everybody have a good Sunday, rest of your week.